We did it. Episode 50 episodes of the Maine State of Mind podcast. So excited. Thank you all for joining me along this journey. I'm your host, Justin Soderberg. Today's guest is Jeremy Swayman, goaltender for the Boston Bruins, former UMaine Black Bear goaltender. We talked hockey and talked his experience at UMaine, all the way to his journey in playing for the Boston Bruins and getting his NHL debut in 2021 for the Boston Bruins, and taking and seizing every opportunity possible in his career as a hockey player. Jeremy Swayman, he was, like I said, goaltender at UMaine. He had made his debut on April 6th of 2021, got a win in his debut for the Bruins. 10 days later, picked up his first shutout for the Boston Bruins. But back when he was playing at UMaine, he was a finalist for the Hobie Baker Award, which is given to the national best hockey player of the year into the 2019-2020 season. He was a finalist for that award. Didn't win, but he was a finalist for that award. And he, in 2019-20 as well, finished fourth in the conference at Hockey East with his team at UMaine, but also was the winner of the Mike Richter Award for the best goaltender in college hockey, which is pretty sweet accomplishment for him. There was no playoffs for the Hockey East in 2019-20 due to COVID. And so after his career at UMaine had come to an end of that season, he decided to sign professionally with the Boston Bruins and started playing for the Providence Bruins, which is the AHL affiliate of the professional team. Got it, like I said, made its debut in 2021. Us Mainers are super proud of him, super excited. So what a better guest to have on. There is no better guest, I should say, to have on for episode 50 episodes of the Maine State of Mind. Today's episode, Jeremy Swayman, Boston Bruins goaltender and former UMaine Black Bear. Follow us, subscribe on everything possible, but mainly on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and YouTube. And follow us on social media, Facebook and Instagram, for the latest updates and great things that are coming out from the Maine State of Mind. So episode 50 here with Jeremy Swayman of the Boston Bruins. Enjoy, everybody, and thank you. How's it going, Jeremy?
Good, Justin. How you doing, man?
I'm doing wonderful. Yeah, man. You traveling a lot, huh? Coming back from the road?
Yeah, we're actually on the road
On
now.
the road.
Just left for New Jersey, so we just got here, and it's pretty sweet so far. On the bus ride in, I saw the Freedom Tower for the first time, so that was pretty cool.
That is pretty cool. I mean, it's kind of cool because you're from Anchorage, Alaska, correct?
Yeah,
So I mean, like
a
you
little
were on
farther
both
north.
sides of the country when you played it. You lived in Anchorage and played it, yeah, UMaine. But I'm sure it's probably a quick just fly across the country most of the time when you were traveling, not like stopping in between. So seeing new places is pretty cool, huh?
Yeah, for sure. It's been nice. Like going to Maine, I'm a lot more used to the East Coast and been to pretty much all the states now. I mean, that's been nice, but yeah, considered Maine home now and Boston as well. So I'm pretty happy with it.
That's pretty awesome. I mean, I grew up in Maine. Like I'm 35. I will be 35 in a couple weeks. But I spent like ages 20 to 30 in Massachusetts. But up until 20, I was living in Maine. And so I'd call Maine home because I've lived here most of my life. But I
Mm-hmm.
was actually just recently, like basically when you were in Maine, just recently
Yeah,
became back a Mainer again.
love it.
Yeah, it's a pretty fun state to be in, and it's a pretty cool place to play hockey too. What made you decide on Maine when you went to Maine?
Yeah, good question. I mean, it is. It is a really great place to play hockey. And when I was in the recruiting process, a lot of schools reached out in a short amount of time just because, when you're up in Alaska, you don't get the exposure that the Midwest kids get, or basically any of the lower 48 is what we call them up there. It's what they get because, scouts aren't coming up to Alaska. So when I was, sought after the USHL, it was after my first kind of tournament. There was a spring showcase or a fall showcase right at the beginning, and that's when a lot of schools ended up seeing me. And it's kind of a whirlwind, just getting all these different coaches coming into you up to you after the locker room. And I can remember vividly when the Maine coaches walked in. Never heard of, I didn't even know where University of Maine was. Like Orono, I mean,
Yeah,
but yeah, I just remember the conversation. It wasn't even about hockey. It was just about the great fishing and hiking spots there are around Maine. And I was like, all right, this is going to be a place that I'm going to take seriously. And then when I came for my visit, saw the campus, saw the rink. It was kind of, no looking back from there.
Mhm. It's definitely funny. I feel like that's a lot how Maine people do it. Like when Abe, the co-owner of Owner Brewing Company, when he talks to
Mhm.
people about our beer, a lot of times it's not about the beverages itself. It's about the experience you can have, like in and around
Totally.
Orno. Unless like the
Totally.
sales of the beer are secondary completely. It's about the
Yeah.
experience about Orno. It seems like hockey. Obviously, they do the same thing. Like you played hockey, you know what hockey's all about. Let's talk about what you can do when you're not on the ice.
Exactly. Yeah. And I think someone tipped them off. I think it was my agent. They have a good relationship. I know Red had a great relationship with my agent. He actually Red coached my agent when my agent was in high school, and
Oh
so he
wow.
was his history teacher and his high school coach. So it was kind of the writing on the wall. He was like, he really trusted him. And um, when I met Red for the first time, that was just like, he was the guy that I wanted to be. I wanted to play for. And my dad loved him just because, not only did he want to make me a better hockey player, but he wanted to make me a better person. And that's what the coaching staff was all about at Maine too. And then just like you said, the culture that Maine has and the people of Maine have, everyone was so nice, and it was just so great. I could strike a conversation with anyone, and they'd always have some connection to Alaska somehow, or some connection to Boston, and it was just super cool. Yeah, so I'm very fond of the Mainers. I love that place.
I had friends that in high school who had moved out from Sitka to Maine, and both people moved out here because their dad moved out here for college. He was going to school,
Wow.
and when they came to Maine, both of them still live in Maine. They both got married and had families. Like they were like, Alaska's fun, and still they call it home. But when they
Totally.
came and moved here, it was like, no, we're staying in Maine. So that's pretty cool to
Wow.
have that connection.
Yeah,
But
Sitka's a pretty cool place.
yeah.
That's amazing. Yeah, see, that's the thing. It's just small world, and yeah, I mean, Maine's again. It's like it's one of a kind, just like Alaska, and it's just kind of your preference if you want to, have Maine mountains or Alaska mountains. It's
Mhm.
it's best of both worlds, so it's a good spot.
It is, and it's with Hockey East, I think a lot of people enjoy coming up and playing. And I was a media member before I moved back to Orono. I actually was a media member in Massachusetts. I stopped writing college hockey in about 2015, I believe it was 16, right around there. I was a beat writer for UMass Lowell.
Oh wow.
For a number of years, and so I covered Hockey East, Frozen Four, all that stuff. And so being from Maine, or being like growing up here up until 20,
Mhm.
traveling back up to Orno was such a fun experience because there
Totally.
really isn't an arena like, Maine's arena. There's like, there's other ones obviously similar to it, but the
Mhm.
experience you get when you're actually in that arena is pretty badass.
Yeah, no, you know it, better than most. I mean, if you've been around it, you know the difference in arenas, and yeah, I mean the Alphonse, second to none. There's nothing like it, and the fans there even better. It was so fun looking up in the crowd, and you get the students, and then you get the 67-year-old couples cheering the same chants because they just know it. It's in their blood, right? And it's just such a great atmosphere to play in. I mean, it's a really special place.
And they're doing some upgrades this year too, which is going to be pretty cool. Because I mean, it is an older building, so there's that aspect with it. But I feel like in New England, every building you go into is pretty old. But yeah, it's nice to see they're going to do some upgrades up there and make the experience a little bit better for everybody. But like I said, there's just something about that arena when you're in Alphond. It's
Mhm.
like no other, and it's pretty cool that you got to play there for a couple of years. Um, and see that experience. And obviously you get to play with Red, and, obviously rest in peace to
Yeah.
Red. And he's going to be missed by a lot of people. I was actually, speaking of media, I was actually once able to interview him after a game.
Nice.
And he
Good for
was
you.
very, very, very good. He's so nice. Like he was just very
Yeah.
personable. I mean, they don't like college. I mean, coaches in general don't really like talking to the media. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
But he just was always like, "Yep, this is what you're doing your job. I'm doing my job. Let's just have a conversation." So he was a really nice guy. I only got to meet him a couple times, but interviewed him once, and he was just a super nice and very good for Maine. And we're all gonna miss him for sure.
Yeah. It's really kind of you to say, but it's
Mm.
true, right? I mean, if you got to meet him, his presence just kind of rubbed off on you, and it kind
Mhm.
of like you're never gonna forget that kind of thing. It's like every conversation I had with him, it's like a life lesson that I'll use forever. It's just
Mhm.
unbelievable some of the stuff he would say, and it's like, yeah, your experience does kind of wear off on me. That's amazing. Yeah. So, and his family is just the best too. Jan, Katie, and
Mm.
Allison. It's just really cool. It was a family oriented, um, vibe being on the hockey team there. And again, like that travels around to Maine in itself, and Orono. Like
Mm.
Orono is the best college town ever. You can just travel around. You're seeing student life everywhere. And the locals, they're the same way. Like, hey, you go to college, like, what are you studying? Are you enjoying
Mhm.
it? And it's like, yeah, I'm enjoying it. It's the best place ever. You kidding me? It's awesome.
Yeah.
So it was just a really great experience for me, and I'm sure countless others.
Yeah. Excuse me. And speaking of that, obviously you left early, right? You left after your junior season. Is that correct?
Yeah.
And you had, I mean, your season 2019, 2020 season was obviously spectacular for you, but also for the entire, hockey team. I mean, you guys
Mhm.
finished fourth in Hockey East, and things were looking up and things were looking well, but then COVID hit. Um, what what kind of experience was that? I mean, you guys were probably going to make a run at least Hockey East playoffs and so on. But did they cancel it at all? Am I correct about that as well?
Yeah. Yeah. This last year was
Yeah.
definitely a special group. It just kind of had all the keys that we've been waiting for. And talking to the coaching staff, that's what they were saying too. It's like we had a few forwards that were scoring goals. We had defensemen that were playing the systems, and we had a goalie that could sometimes do the job, that kind of thing. So it was fun to have that confidence in each other. And yeah, I truly believe we had all the keys to really make an impact, not only in the Hockey East tournament, but the national tournament as well. And yeah, it's just unfortunate. The sucky part is that there's an unknown there,
Mhm.
and a lot of what ifs. But I mean, if we could replay that season again, it wouldn't change it for the world, just because of the relationships we've made on that team, the memories we
Mhm.
made, and it was a special group. So
I mean, you
thankful
ended up
for it.
getting to play at the Garden anyway, right?
Yeah,
I
yeah,
mean,
it's
it would have
funny.
been
Like,
nice to be able to be there and be like for a Hockey East championship, but you ended up because you were drafted by the Bruins and they ended up signing you. You get called up there. You ended up playing in the Garden anyway, which is pretty cool.
yeah, I'm happy with that. I mean, I was kicking myself. I was like, we played in Hockey East, never once stepped foot in the Garden, and so I'm glad I did it the way I did.
Mhm.
From a personal standpoint, it's a pretty special experience, and this organization is just unbelievable. Management, players, everything. It's just top notch, and it's just a really, really fun locker room to be in here.
It must be cool too. And I don't know. I've never actually played hockey. I've just been a big fan of it for a number of years, and
Perfect.
seeing your draft. Getting drafted by a team like the Bruins a couple of years ago, but playing at UMaine, that must have been a pretty cool experience too. Because I mean, people in Maine are Bruins fans mostly because of the fact that it's our closest team.
Mhm.
So when people are cheering for you to play at UMaine, but they were also like, "This is pretty cool because this guy's also a prospect for the Bruins." That must have been something pretty cool when you're playing at UMaine.
Yeah, that was just kind of a blessing in
Yeah.
disguise. I was drafted before I was even committed to Maine, and when I eventually committed to Maine, it was just kind of like this is. Oh no, sorry, it's the other way around. I was already committed to Maine.
Yeah.
I was already committed to Maine. The draft was in June. I committed in October, and so yeah, I already knew I was going to Maine, and when the Bruins drafted me, it was just like, are you kidding me? This is perfect. It's just couldn't have worked out any better. I'm super excited with that, and yeah, the support, from the Orono community was really special with that. There's a lot of Bruins jerseys at games, and I know they're already Bruins fans as is, but it's
Yeah.
always cool to be a part of that. But obviously, when I was in Alphond, all I cared about was the main blue, so it was easy for me to dial it in and make sure that I'm doing my job here, because if I took care of it there, it'd get me to where I wanted to be in Boston. So I was really excited with that.
Exactly. Yeah. And I mean, obviously you had a stellar season in 2019-20, but like when you decided to sign pro, I've been there. Like I was covering the UMass Lowell Riverhawks, like I mentioned, when Hellebuck signed pro. And
Hmm.
I remember the conversations that they were having and coaching staff being like, no, we were like, yes, this is your opportunity, do it. It sucks to lose a player of your caliber on the team, but also this is your personal life and this is your future. And if you have the opportunity to go pro, a lot of coaches in college hockey are going to say, do it. Like, we're cool with it. We're going to back you. you can sign your contract in our media room. You can do whatever you want.
Right.
This is your future. So I'm guessing they were right behind you when you decided to leave and go pro.
Yeah, it was it was a serious conversation to have, because again, like, we were really good last year,
Mm-hmm.
and if we had some key components coming back, we could have been good this year as well. Obviously, with COVID, there's a lot of unknowns too. So, but yeah, through and through, everyone supported my decision, and that's what I really wanted. I wanted to make sure that everyone was on the same page and that I was ready. Right, I needed to make sure I was ready to go to the next level, and that was the conversation we had. We all discussed, have I had the experience I need in order to be successful at pro hockey? Um, and that's we all agreed on that. And again, I can't thank the University of Maine, the coaching staff, and the players enough, because without the University of Maine, no way I could be here and do what I'm doing. It's just a reality, and that's a testament to Hockey East as well. The play, the competitiveness that it was every night, playing different teams with top notch prospects from every NHL team. It's just a really incredible experience, and again, couldn't have happened without them.
I mean, so we talked obviously about UMaine and stuff like that, but what was it like to get that conversation to say that you were actually going to play for the Bruins, that you were actually going to suit up for the big league team in the NHL? What was that? Was that experience like at all? Like,
That was April, early April, right?
mhm,
So
mhm.
yeah, I started out in Providence this year, and again, just happy go lucky. I was super
Yeah,
happy to be there, and um, we had a really good team there and had some success early on, and then um, I think Halak went down with COVID, and so they needed another goalie to travel, and I was the next one. It was kind of the perfect order. And when we played Philly at home, first day I was there, and then we traveled that night, played Philly the second day. It was back to back, and yeah, on the plane, goalie coach told me, "Hey, you're gonna play tomorrow," and so I was excited. Um, I was kind of expecting, being able to, like, be ready to play, right? That's kind of a
yeah,
mentality I have, is always be ready to play. It's your job, it's what you're there for, and it's what I love to do. So, when I heard it, I didn't want to take it. It's too much of a surprise, because, I was expecting it. It's just what I wanted to do. I wanted to expect it, and I wanted to make sure I could do whatever I do to help the team. So that was a pretty cool night, though. I'll tell you that. It
yeah.
was pretty special. Putting on the first time putting on the Bruins sweater and playing in another original six teams,
Yeah.
Philadelphia. So wasn't too nervous going into it, just because, again, I was excited. I was like, this is where I wanted to be, is where I'm supposed to be. And the game went by so
I,
fast. It seemed like,
I,
it was just like I wanted to enjoy every moment, and that's what I did. And it was just so fun, and still
I mean,
doing it, still
and
enjoying it.
you picked up a win that night, right? Is that, am I looking on that correct? We won that game.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's just
Yeah,
pretty cool.
we
I mean,
won.
get that out of the way is a pretty good thing too, right? I mean, it's nice to play at a game, but to get that first W out of the way too is a pretty relieving, I'm guessing.
Yeah, for sure. I was talking to Carlo about that, actually, and he was a young guy coming into League Two when he was a rookie, and he was just like, "Yeah, I was, waiting for that first one just to get it out of the way, and then just focus it one day at a time." And that's what we kind of laughed about after. Just get it out of the way and focus one day at a time, and enjoy it, man. It's fun. It's a game, and
Yeah.
that's why we play. So it's super awesome to have these awesome veterans too that are always there with you. Just saying, we're going to support you, whatever you need. And that's what it was. Everyone does their job at this level, and it was at college too, but everyone does their job, and it's a really cool thing to see. And some of the plays, obviously, at this level, you kind of just, oh, like, that was unbelievable. So it's pretty cool to get a front row view for that. But yeah,
That's
man.
pretty. I mean, and then 10 days later, you also picked up your first NHL shutout. You're just like some of these people I've talked to and stuff like that around Maine, around Orno, have just been like they knew who you were, but really it wasn't until this level where they knew who you were. And it like some
Mhm.
of these good things that have happened to you, like I said, you got your first start, and then you got your win, you got your shutout, all within a short period of time. Um, Swayman has become a name that people in New England now know. Like it's weird. It must be surreal to know that people actually know who you are. No offense, because obviously people know who you were, but just saying like it's one of those things that like there are people I can say your name to now that don't even follow college hockey or professional hockey who know who you
Mhm.
are now, which is pretty badass.
That is pretty cool, but it's still a small fish in a
Yeah.
big pond. Just making sure I'm doing my job, and again, like I don't need the attention. It's just all I want to do is help the team win. At the end of the day, just keep it simple and have fun doing it.
And that's the correct answer, because that's the answer that most good players are going to say too. It's a team sport. It really is. And one of the things I always loved about hockey and talking to people about hockey and talking to like Abe, for example, at Orno Brewing, was the fact that like a backup quarterback doesn't play that often, correct? I mean, if you think about it in a sport like the NFL or in college football, the backup quarterback is there just in case the starting quarterback goes down with an
Mm,
injury or the game's blown out, or maybe it's a different scheme. But like most of the time, the backup quarterback doesn't play. In hockey, it's like the backup goaltender gets an opportunity every few nights because they rotate it out more like a pitching, a starting five in the MLB.
mm,
So seeing someone like yourself, listed as the number two goaltender, you're going to get your opportunities because there are nights where you rest your number one goaltender and put the number two
mm,
goaltender in. So it's like it's one of those things that you can turn the game on any night and you can see anybody in net, which is pretty sweet. So that's pretty cool because it does give you that opportunity. I've seen other people get called up in other sports and they don't play for the entire time they got called up because you're
mm,
just there as an emergency backup. But with a
totally.
goaltender, like you said, you got your opportunity really quickly, and it must have taken some nerves away too, just to get that out of the way.
Mm. Yeah,
So,
totally. It's kind of a newer thing too, is not
mm,
overplaying your head goalie throughout the regular season, just because games are taxing for everyone,
mhm.
but for goalies too. It's 60 minutes. You're not focused on anything else. You don't get to go on the bench and grab a sip of water. You're involved in the play at all times. So not only is it physically fatiguing, but it could be mentally fatiguing as well. So um, it's good to let that 1A goalie get a rest or two, a day off or two. But at the same time, if you're a backup goalie or 1B, you want to make sure that you're pushing the 1A, to get better results out of yourself and
Yeah.
him, because that only can help the team, right? So it's a healthy competition, but it really benefits the team more than anything, which is the best part. So equal, like when you get two goalies that are hot, then you can't complain about that. So it's a
Mhm.
fun process to be a part of.
And so you have how many more? Do you know how many more games you have left in the season? Is there? I haven't been following the Bruins that much this season.
Yeah, I think we have eight,
Okay, for the
7 or
regular
8 more
season.
games. Yeah.
So that's pretty cool. I mean, it's such a weird year. And it's such a weird year for sports. Is like just in general not knowing. I used to know cover like watching sports and covering sports. You used to know this many games were in this season for this sport and so on and so forth. But with the
Mm,
COVID seasons and like
yeah.
some leagues have done shorter seasons, some year different play-in tournaments for sports for the playoffs. It's just like one of those things that I don't even have the attention span right now to keep up on all the different sports, different
Right.
nuances to this COVID year. So it's kind of just a unique season for sure. And it's one of those things that's funny. Your NHL debut is the same year that a lot of people have like it's in the year middle of a pandemic.
Hmm. I know. It is nuts. Yeah. But yeah, one thing about that this year is it's been a lot different because we've packed in a lot of games in a short amount of time. And I think the last time the Bruins have had two consecutive off days without a game was in like March. So it's been grinding time. So it's been cool to be a part of. But what the best or the coolest thing to see is how these veterans take care of their bodies after a game, because literally they get 24 hours and then we're going 110% the next night. And you're playing every night. These forwards don't get rest like goalies do, and so
Mhm.
it's pretty amazing to watch how they take care of their bodies and manage themselves off the ice as well as on the ice.
It's funny how I just totally just lost my train of thought there for a second.
No worries.
But no, yeah. So it's. Oh, when I was saying is that when I was messaging you back and forth trying to figure out a good time to do this, I was trying to look at the Bruins schedule as well because
Yeah.
like making sure you're not actually like, hey, can we do it at 7 o'clock on Tuesday? And you're like, well, I'm
Yeah.
actually playing, so I can't do that. That'd be a hell of an interview right there, right on
Right.
the ice. You're playing no. Um, But yeah, and I looked at that. It's like every other night it's a game, and
Mhm.
then obviously you're traveling and all that stuff. Who you bunk up with when you're on the road? Who's your roommate?
We don't have
Oh,
roommates.
really? Oh, because of COVID,
Yeah,
or is it just yeah?
I believe it's COVID. It might be a NHL
Oh,
rule
cool.
too that yeah, just no roommates on the road. So it's been nice just to get a little solitary time and relax, kind of
Yeah.
unwind. Yeah.
I'm guessing, at 20, you're 22 years old. I'm guessing you probably have a lot more in common with some of the younger teammates too, like you mentioned earlier, talking to some teammates. But is that like how they usually? Is that how you do it usually? I mean, is you guys all one big group, or is it usually like small little cliques of people that hang out mostly with each other?
Yeah, I think the biggest difference from like college to pro hockey is that, college, everything's as a group, right? Like
Mhm.
you're on the road, you have, team track shoots, you're making sure you're on the same time meal and stuff. But then there's meals here too. But,
Yeah.
in professional hockey, guys have families, they have obligations outside the rink too, right? So they're going home to a completely different scene than, a rookie like me is going home to his hotel right now just because
Yeah.
of the circumstance. So,
Yeah.
um, yeah, that's kind of take care of itself. But around the rink, I mean, the guys are so great in that locker room that I can strike up a conversation with any one of them and not be like nervous or feel out of place or anything. So it's pretty cool. But again, like you're definitely gonna have a better relationship with the younger guys that are kind of going through the same process as well. So I've definitely like some of the Providence guys that are up here as well that I've known since the beginning of the season. It's been nice to kind of hang out with them and follow their lead sometimes. And again, just learning every day. That's the biggest thing because you can't buy experience, so
Yeah.
you just got to go through it and enjoy it.
And you're taking advantage of opportunities. Like I said, you never want to see, when you're starting in your career like you are now, you obviously are happy with that experience of getting that shot to play in the NHL, but obviously it came at the expense of someone else either getting injured or sick or something like that. So you never want that to happen for that
Right.
person. But you've also, like you said, you take advantage of the opportunity and obviously work towards saying, I deserve this shot too. So in the future, as things progress, I'm just as good to be there as anybody else should be. And so taking that advantage and working hard to get to that opportunity and keep that opportunity is obviously something that's at the forefront of your mind.
Yeah, that's the thing too. It's like once you get your opportunity, you want to maintain it. You want to make sure that you're doing everything you can to, stay in that role and earn it every day. So it's been cool. Like I've been asked by a couple media reporters if I'm comfortable yet, and I kind of slightly disagreed. And I was just like, hey, yeah, I'm comfortable around the guys and everything, but as soon as you get comfortable, then you kind of get lackadaisical. You don't do the detail stuff, and it's not being uncomfortable, but it's making sure that I'm doing what I can and I'm supposed to be doing not to be comfortable, to make sure that
Exactly.
I'm doing the little things that, some guys could skip out on. And that just gives me kind of an advantage. And again, at the same time, like you get a full team that's doing that, you're going to have a pretty dangerous team come playoff time. So it's a pretty cool environment to be around and learning from the older guys. Like that's what I see. I see how they take care of themselves after they skate. I'm going to do the same thing. It's not a copycat thing. It's just what I've learned from college and now being in pro. You have to do it if you want to be successful for a long time.
Excuse me. And it's worked for many people. So having that opportunity and taking care of that, hopefully you'll have a long, tenured career in the NHL. A lot of us New Englanders would hope you stay with the Bruins for a long period of time. But obviously take your shots where you get them. And right now you're on the Bruins. You're going to try to help them win, and that's your whole goal. You got a great mentality of it. It's pretty cool. Uh, you're down to earth, which is awesome too. It's like, some people might let this go to your head, but having a conversation with you right now, it shows that you're obviously like just taking it and saying, hey, this is my life now and I'm going to do it and
Yeah,
work
man.
hard every day and see where it goes.
Totally. You
Hmm.
nailed it.
Hmm. So, I mean, I know you're still in the middle of a season and you're trying to win, stuff like that. You're not looking to the off season, but I'm guessing you're excited to go back home at some point to Alaska, and then at some point maybe visit Maine again.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I mean, obviously taking it day by day right now. But that's kind of the irony. It's like the unknown, right? We don't know when it's going to end. So there's no plans being made for summer.
Correct.
I imagine if it'll be a shorter off season just because of the circumstance with COVID. So if I do go back to Alaska, which I probably will, just to see family, make sure I'm unwinding and enjoying some mountains. It'll be after the season, and then I'll probably come up to Maine after the season as well to see some familiar faces and just kind of reconnect. And just I'm already here, might as well come up and have a beer with you because I'm excited. Yeah, exactly. That's where we're going with this. Yeah, so
I
it's
mean,
gonna be
I'm
fun,
excited to have you up there because I mean, it's one of those things that one of the benefits you do get, and like we mentioned that like is that you are so close. It's not a hop, skip, and a jump to get to Orono from Boston, but it is one of those things that it's not like you have to board a 6-hour plane and fly across the country to get to us. Like you could just come up. Not saying that it's easy. I'm just saying it's a lot easier than if you played for the LA Kings or something like that. It might be a little bit more difficult to take a little jaunt up to Orono. But you're always welcome to come have a pint with us and share some war stories about being in the NHL and you're always welcome to show up on a day that we're not even open. We'll have beers in the brewery. It's one of those things you're always welcome in Orono for sure. And and we got things cooking, some fun things coming up, and we're excited for that as well. Abe's excited for just having conversations with you. Sending you some stuff in the mail was exciting to him.
That was fun
for sure. Yeah. And so we every time we get some new stuff, we're going to send it to you because we take care of the people who take care of us. We take care of those people who love us, and we send out those packages whenever we can. So is it all gone now? Probably anything we sent you is probably gone, right?
Yeah. I mean, try not to drink too much during the season, but those are just like just can have one and enjoy it, right? There's just such high quality stuff, and that fruity
Fruitful?
that's what it is, the fruitful. But I was talking to Abe, I had a great conversation with Abe, and it's like your kind of trademark is to have that fruity, hoppy kind of finish, right? And that's just so unique. You can't find that anywhere else. And it's funny, I was talking to one of my family friends that lives in Mass, and he's like, "You've had the tubular, right?" And I'm like, "Have I had the tubular? Of course I've had the tubular." And so it's distributed all around Mass, all around Mass now. And he's like, "I'm sending it to my uncles, to my cousins." He's like, "This stuff is awesome." Like that's right, it's awesome. Now you got to go up to the brewery and see it yourself. But the impact you've had on the community of Orono and coming, you guys have been to the Alpha, and Abe was telling me you guys have been up the box behind us. Like that's huge. And I know the campus is all over it too. They love it. And it's always a good spot to go, on a weekend. So and a weekday, but especially after a Saturday night win. So it's always fun.
Exactly. We know we pay our bills because of the college students. Like, let's be honest, we mentioned those 60-year-old people who sit in the stands and watch your games, but the college students during the school year are our lifeblood. It makes me, I get a salary from Orono Brewing Company because of the college students, let's be honest. And so we always wanted to connect with them. So we're partnering with Black Bear Sports Properties and doing promotions at games and all that stuff, because we know after a night's win for the Black Bears, coming down to Orono Brewing Company and grabbing some tots and some beers to celebrate is something that a lot of people do. And we know that's without the students wanting to come there, we wouldn't be where we are now. So it's really cool to see that. And we've had times with you hockey players come in on a regular basis. And it's cool is that when you're a hockey player at UMaine, you're in one of the most premier schools for hockey in the country. Let's be honest. I mean, any team really in Hockey East is up there like that as one of the premier conferences, but UMaine, the history and the lineage of UMaine. But people come down and sit down at a table and no one bothers you. like it's just, you're like one of the people that are there. You're just another person sitting at a table. It's not like you're this like untouchable person that you can you can actually, anybody who plays basketball, football, hockey, anything at UMaine, they come to Orono Brewing Company, they sit down, they have tots and they have a soda or a drink or beer or whatever they want, and they're just left alone. People don't bother them, which is pretty cool.
No, it is cool. The fish tacos, I love the fish tacos. Those are good.
See? There you go.
Yeah, I got it going. That was a fun spot. But then
And the way it looks, like, Abe and Heather and all of them have done a great job making that place look pretty sweet too. So it's not just this
Mm,
boring little location. Like we actually have some cool
yeah,
vibe going on there for sure.
totally.
And exciting for the future. We have big plans for a bunch of different things coming up in Orno Brewing Company over the next year or two. And when
Hmm.
we went to Massachusetts for the first time, like when we sent beer to Massachusetts, I was happy because that's where I spent 10 years of my life, and I was
Yeah.
actually born in Massachusetts. But like the idea that when they're like, we're in Massachusetts now. I'm like, okay, are we going to be at this store and this store? Like all the places that I used to buy drinks at. And so
Right.
it was like a surreal moment. Pat, our sales rep, called me from Andover, where I spent most of my time when I was
Yeah.
down there for 10 years. He called me and was like, where should I go? And I told him all these spots and they were all packed with people. He's like, I can't get a word in there to talk to them about selling our beer because they were just full of people. I'm like, that's why I wanted us to be in there.
What? No,
But
totally.
yeah.
Like, yeah, I saw it in Providence and convinced the
Mhm.
boys to get some, like, for just kind of an afternoon. It was great. It's so cool. It just, whenever you can get some sort of connection to Maine, and that's just the best. And doing it over a beer, that's even better. So it's pretty cool. Super happy for you guys.
Yeah, I'm excited. And so we did it once. We were in New York City, and we were at a bar. And one of the things I realized that was the greatest thing in the world to call us Orno Brewing way back in the day was because we were in a bar and someone's like, they had no idea who we were as a brewery because they graduated in like 2012,
Hmm.
2011 before we were even conceived, and they just knew the name Orono. And it was like if we were called
Yeah,
Joe Schmo's Brewing Company, they would have no idea where we're from. But those
totally.
that connection, that alumni network of UMaine students were like, oh, we know what Orono was. So they packed the bar out and our beer all sold out and stuff like that
Yeah,
because of the name Orono. So it does have that
totally.
cool connection.
No, 100%. It's a special place to anyone that goes there, and rightfully so. It's a sacred grounds up there. It's awesome. It's super cool. So
Yeah,
I
so we're
know I'm
looking forward,
excited to
at
go
some
back.
point getting you back up here to enjoy some fish tacos and have a conversation for sure.
Definitely.
Um, and maybe we can chat again when you're up and do a little like a catch up where you've been, what you've been doing.
Yeah.
But you got a couple more games left in this season. Swayman's gonna hopefully play some more games, right? I mean, we're recording this on a Sunday night, and he just flew in or came into the town. But you picked up a win last night, I saw, right?
Yep. Yeah. We won. We beat Buffalo in that
Mhm.
afternoon. Yeah, we're playing Jersey tomorrow and Tuesday, and I think we're home for Rangers twice, and then
Cool.
we head to the Islanders, and then I think Washington for one more. So it's definitely less than 8 games. Yeah. So we're coming down to it.
Yeah, that's fine. I mean, you're getting down to the end there. It's a lot more traveling than college hockey, huh?
Yeah, but we got some nice flights,
Yeah,
and
so say it's also a lot
yeah,
different because you're not taking these buses up for I
right.
mean, from Maine. I mean, you knew that Maine everywhere is a traveling. Anytime you don't have a home game, it's a travel.
Oh yeah, yeah. I was laughing with Miller because he went to Vermont.
Okay, yep.
You remember that 6.5er to Vermont? I'm like, oh yeah, all about that.
Now it takes you 6.5 hours to fly across the country, or less than
Yeah.
that, honestly.
Oh yeah, we've traveled, veteran traveler.
But yeah, sweet. So you can see Swayman play hopefully a couple more games for the Bruins this year. And again, I just appreciate you coming on, talking Maine hockey and talking some Bruin stuff. And us Mainers up here couldn't be more proud for you. You are from Alaska, but we're gonna call you ours for the rest of your life and your
Yeah.
career. So we'll take credit for your success here in Maine. Are you cool with that?
Yeah, that's cool, man. That's great. I just, I'm not gonna leave anyone behind. That's for sure because those places are special to me. So couldn't have done it without you guys. Couldn't have done it without Alaska, and just so fortunate to be here, man. And I'm just so thankful for the relationships, guys like you and coaches and just
Mhm.
regular people. It's just everyone's the best, and it's just really really blessed with what I've been through, and happy to be here now.
Yeah, I'm just your happiness right now is making me happy. Just you're living the dream. Like let's be honest, baby Jeremy this is his goal, right? His dream is to play in the NHL, and you're actually living it, which is pretty badass for me. And it makes
Uh,
me think that any dream can be achievable, and you're doing it right now, even if it ends up being a short time. And you're living it right now, and you're taking advantage of every moment. I can tell that for sure.
yeah, just easiest thing is to take things one day at a time, and enjoy the moment. I know it's cliche and you hear it all the time, but it's just such a true thing. And um, whether it's mountain biking in the woods or backpacking somewhere, playing on the ice in an NHL game. You just enjoy it and you have a smile on your
Yep.
face. Really can't complain about that.
Absolutely. And so you're on Instagram, right? You want people following you on Instagram, or do you not care?
Yeah, yeah, sure. I mean, I like when people reach out. I try to get back to them, as much as I can. So yeah, go ahead and
Jay Swayman one is your Instagram handle. You can go on there, see some pictures of him fishing. I like it because you're play for the Bruins. There's only one picture of you on the Bruins. The rest of it's just your experience in life, which is great. I like that.
yeah.
That's what you should be doing because we all know you play for the Bruins. We should know what else you do in your life, which is great. So you got some big fishes on here. Picture of you at Maine, which is pretty cool. So yeah, follow him on Instagram and keep up with him. Hey Jeremy, I really appreciate it. It was glad talking to you. And I'm looking forward to chatting up again and having a beer and some fish tacos at some point in the future. Or maybe I'll come to Boston and hang out with you in Boston. Maybe we'll see that.
Absolutely, man. Anytime. Thanks so much, Justin.
Yeah, no problem, man. Talk to you later.